Lower dump.
Hello and welcome to Lower Dump.
Ooh, pew pew, thwip.
It's not your turn.
Sorry.
This is the show where we take someone who hasn't played a game or game franchise and walk them through the full story. I am your host, Neil, and I am joined by...
EP Chase.
And...
Monty, don't know what EP is.
I can't be EP because of what we're doing.
I know.
Oh, Sleepy.
I can't be EP.
We're so old.
This is a Gen Z. Just say Sleepy. It's the same amount of syllables.
I like EP. EP's cute.
Yeah, sure. Keep it in.
How are we feeling? We've done... We for anyone that's just joining us at this point, we've just done Spider-Man 1. What did you think of that, Chase?
I thought it was really good. I had fun. I enjoyed it. I'd like to see some more of the... I don't want to say bit villains, but the smaller ones, the other Sinister Six. Are they still about? Were they shoved back in the raft?
Yeah, presumably they're back in the raft now.
Cool. I'd love to see some more of them, but I assume that we're probably... I mean, I doubt in this DLC, but I think that probably the future is going more Green Goblin focused.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably, some Venom.
Yeah.
9 inches.
We'll cover 2. It's going to be a while before we cover 2. We've got some YAKUZA to do, and then we're going to do Miles Morales, and we're going to do 2. And hopefully, dear God, by the time we get there, we might have some more news on a Spider-Man 2 DLC. It's been, at point of recording, over a year since it came out.
Yeah.
And we've not had official news on DLC apart from all the stuff with the leaks. Some of you might remember that. And apparently them...
Was there leaks?
Yeah.
And apparently that then caused them to want to go back and revise the schedule and change what they were doing. So we have had no news on DLC, even though we know it's into production. The game sets up like, oh, that'll be the DLC probably,
There's chat that Insomniac were working on a live service open MMO Spider-Man game. Apparently that's now off the table, thank God.
I was about to say, you had me for a second until you said MMO, and then I got interested again. Because an MMO Spider-Man...
Heroes, was that an MMO?
Well, no.
No,
It was more that you said live service, and I went, But then you said MMO, and I went, oh...
Insomniac released for free a number of really cool suits. They released them pretty late into the development cycle. So, for example, you could get Sam Raimi suits. You could get the Andrew Garfield suits.
Let's go.
There was loads of cool stuff. I think every single Tom Holland suit is available to play in the base game.
I think I have seen those, yeah. Is that what all of these suits are here? Oh, you'll have to show me later, because I've been told I'm not allowed to Google things.
We got full DLC not long after in the form of The City That Never Sleeps, a 3-part story, each one released a couple of months apart. It wasn't a huge length of time. Each one takes between, depending on whether you're just playing through or 100%ing, I would say between 2 and 4 hours each chapter to complete. And we focus on, this is set very definitely after the events of Spider-Man 1. So Otto Octavius is defeated, villains are back in the raft. But you know what, Chase? You know what I don't think we really had enough of in the absence of Wilson Fisk?
In the absence of...
I mean, surely we would have had a power vacuum.
I feel like we definitely had a power vacuum.
No, not enough.
More power
I think you went away and we got an entire Sinister Six.
Well, we went away, but no one in that, none of the major players were really trying to take his place. The demons were just out to stop Osborn.
Yeah.
Sable were out to stop the demons and maybe get a bit of political control or whatever, and maybe something else. And the Sinister Six were just out causing havoc to have their debts paid off and have their medical wishes fulfilled.
You love overcomplicated conspiracies around gangs.
I do. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I do.
Well, we are going street level, my friend.
Oh, beaut.
We open on an evidence board. A familiar voice. You don't honestly have to remember any of these faces. It's not that important.
No, I just think the face is really funny and I want to see the mocap actor.
A familiar voice narrates as we pan across some suspect individuals. Mary Jane Watson, Associate Editor. Begin research notes. My sources are saying the MAJIMA is mounting a comeback. The old crime families were all but wiped out until Fisk went away, and they started filling the void. The old Dons were working harmoniously for years, but now there's a power vacuum, there's bound to be a power struggle. It's only a matter of time before one of the families makes a move on the others. Better start following up my sources in the Force. Hopefully we can stop this crime comeback before it even starts. It's night. Peter surveys the city. There's the Avengers Tower. So there's Oscorp Tower where the end of the first game happened. And yeah, Avengers Tower over in the distance.
You know that Norman is raging that they built it just as much higher. He sees it's some part of like dick measuring contest.
Out of spite. So yeah, it's something that we encouraged you to put it out of your mind because it is nonsense that there's no other heroes helping in the first game.
Well, I mean, I think that in every single
Peter makes a
superhero thing.
Peter makes a comment. I think when you take photos of because there's like hidden photograph things. Pete has a camera at all times. You can take photos of anything.
Oh, nice.
And if you take photos of the Avengers Tower, he says like, oh yeah, the Avengers, they've been away for a while working over on the West Coast. And also a possible reference to the comic book run West Coast Avengers, who were an offshoot of the main Avengers. Peter surveys the city.
I love the thought that they have the biggest tower in Manhattan, and they go, oh yeah, there's nobody in there. Every single person who would ever be in that tower.
There's presumably office workers there, judging by the lights, but no one with superpowers.
Do you think they rent out the lower floors, or do you think every single floor is dedicated to Avengers work?
This is the city where he so recently avoided disaster, managing to defeat his friend and mentor, Otto Octavius, and 5 of his most infamous foes. Sable's forces are gone, and perhaps for now, the streets can rest a little easier. MJ phones us.
Yay.
Hey, Pete. These two are back together now. Hey, Pete, I'm working on a story you might be interested in. The Oscorp expose, he says. No, new one. It's about the MAJIMA crime families.
Yeah, I'm done with Oscorp now. I'm dealing with gangs.
Out of curiosity, just going into this, are there any other kind of big-name mob bosses in the Spider-Man verse outside of Kingpin?
Loads.
The mob? I thought they went out with swing dancing, both times. They were in decline, MJ says, but with Fisk and the demons gone, the Cosa Nostra is making a comeback. I love it when you talk dirty, he says. Easy, Tiger. Easy, Tiger. So you know the feds raided the MAJIMA last month? Well, one of the Dons had this lost masterpiece painting called the Maria, and now they're displaying it over at Manhattan Mocha. She has a source that says one of the families is planning to steal the Maria back tonight. We swoop into action, arriving at the museum where a small army of goons are trying to break in, pretty unsuccessfully. They are as close to like 1920s parodies as you can. Like they're dressed in modern clothes, but they've got like braces and like ties, and they're all going, "Hey, Joey, blah blah blah." I apologize for any Italian Americans listening. I will preface this: I'm marrying into an Italian Catholic family. If that helps me in any way, being allowed to do the voices, yeah. MJ says, "Careful, if these guys are MAJIMA, they play for keeps." As Pete surveys the scene,
unlike your other villains.
Yeah, I know some of these guys. Pete says, surveying the scene. That's Federico Fratelli and San Patrillo. Those guys are part of Hammerhead's crime family, right? Why would he want the Maria? Doesn't seem like his thing. So we manage to sneak in before they can break in, and we realize that someone has already been in front of us. They've cut a hole in the skylight. Security guards are kind of unconscious, and there's some CCTV cut out. We head to the display showing the Maria. It looks like a pretty normal painting, and there's far more valuable art in the museum. So why do the MAJIMA want their hands on it?
Are we night at the museum? Is there secret text, a map on the back of it?
Our boys outside have obviously given up trying to break in and just drive through the front of the museum in black SUVs, smashing through. They're not clever enough to break in stealthily. As the lobby fills with goons, a bulletproof glass barrier slides down in front of the Maria. We frantically have to stop the mobsters legging it out with armfuls of precious artworks. So while they're fighting you and some of them are trying to get to the Maria, there's others that are just grabbing armfuls of priceless art, and you can see them on your map running out. You have to go and stop them before they make it out. Once the first wave of baddies are put to sleep, we turn our attention back to the display. MJ thinks this could be all have been a distraction, but the security glass is intact. Pete knocks on it, and he's like, "No one's getting through this. No one's getting through the Maria."
Somebody immediately appears.
Nobody is getting near the Maria anytime soon. Just then, someone gets near the Maria. A familiar figure drops through the ceiling on the other side of the security glass.
Catwoman.
I'm gonna have to call you back, and hangs up on MJ when she's talking to him. Black Cat slinks along the other side of the wall. "You look good," she smells at Peter. "Been working out?" "No, I mean, a little." "So, you swinging solo now, or back with your ex?" That's a lot of questions. I'm just curious. Yeah, I hear that's bad for cats. How about you tell me why you're really here? I was just waiting for the right moment. Look behind you. We fight off another round of goons, and we head back to the front. She says, I like your new tricks, and I'm tired of your old ones. Weren't you going to stop stealing art? Who says I'm here for the art? She says, picks up the Maria and breaks it in two over her knee, revealing a USB stick hidden in the frame.
Oh. Iconic, but I just love the idea of fucking hate art. Fucking hate art. Get rid of it.
It's just an anti-contemporary. Also, why is this being shown in a contemporary?
I was about to say, this is very much not a contemporary piece.
I think you have to save lives, she says. And behind him, like, there's a big piece of art that's about to fall on two guys. And he jumps up, he webs it up, he saves them, turns back around, and she's gone. But with one of her claws, she scratched the message on the glass. Missed you, love heart. This first, I'm going to tell you now, this first episode is just essentially, I've cut out a lot of busy work. It's like a night on the town with Black Cat chasing her down. He calls MJ back. Sorry, MJ, I ran into an old friend. Who? Trouble.
That's not answering the question, Spider-Man.
He then does tell her. MG says that if Black Cat went through the roof, was she working with Hammerhead's guys? Yeah, Pete says she was probably watching me the whole time I was there. Just tell me you didn't let her get away with the Maria. She didn't. Good. She smashed it and stole a data drive hidden in the frame. Around the city, we start getting reports of bomb threats. Witnesses are being threatened and kidnapped and storefronts are being robbed. The Magia are back and they aren't being quiet about it. So this is our new sort of types of crime to fix in the city. And we use our little spider bot to help like defuse bombs. And like, so there's a little spider bot mission where you can pop him down and you play from the first person. He goes clink, 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 and, you know, goes around the city.
It's just really satisfying sound
it's
design.
Yeah, it's mostly the sound design. And the PS5 controller is like ding, 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 ding.
I love games that put sound from the PS5 speaker. Astrobot's great for it.
Oh, it's so good. More games should do that. I get it's probably really expensive. We get calls of a shootout with piss poor police.
pissing.
No, we get calls of a piss out. We get calls of a shootout with police pinned down under enemy fire. Spidey makes short work of the gangsters, including the newly introduced minigun brute enemy, who's an absolute bugger. He's one of the... Like, most of the enemies individually, all the enemies individually are really easy, but this is one of the brute enemies, and he's got a minigun, and it's almost like a laser. The bullets are so fast, and if you don't notice it, it takes off like a third of your health if it hits you.
Yeah.
One Magia remains conscious and tries to flee, but Spidey webs his hand to a car. He desperately tries to free himself as we, like, creep down the side of the car. So one of the only times Spider-Man tries to be intimidating, like, creeps down the car and gets his face right in his face. And without saying a word, the guy instantly gives up. That's what I meant earlier, where it was like, Spider-Man who doesn't talk is kind of scary. And the guy's like, all right, I give up, I get up. Do I get time off if I talk? No. And Spidey says, you won't if you don't. Oh, okay. The white-haired chick, she told us to come down here and make some noise. Sucker bait. And I'm the sucker. Where'd you meet her? The bodega on Waverly. MJ, the whole shootout was a distraction. Black Cat set it up to draw police away from Waverly Street. One of the other Magia families, MJ tells us, has a storefront on Waverly, the Ciceros. Maybe we can catch her. Felisa takes her time. She's nothing if not methodical. And MJ's like, is she now? I'll keep you posted. We head to Waverly and track Felisa's movements to a rooftop. As we make it to the door, it bursts open, Black Cat flying out and pinning us to the ground.
Nice.
Oh hey, Spider. Felicia, the Magi are no joke. You shouldn't be playing with them. Oh, but I like to play. Some thugs follow, shortly behind us. He's working with the cat. Get him! Nobody steals from the Cicero family and lives. Hey, Hammerhead hired Spider-Man? You guys sure do jump to quick conclusions. And then one of them's like, hey, Spidey, come work for our family. We'll double the price. I'm not working for Hammerhead or any other crime family. It's just wrong place, wrong time. After dealing with the Gooners, Felicia sneaks up on us.
I mean, with Black Cat here, they would be.
Felicia sneaks up on us as we're searching the rooftops for her. I like watching you. Reminds me of old times. What's on that drive? Not entirely sure, to be honest. Then why are
Copious amounts of porn.
Then why are you stealing it? And she turns back to us and says, because if I don't, they'll kill my son. She throws a concussion grenade.
She's a MILF?
She throws a concussion grenade and escapes. As she does, Spider-Man's like, wait, your son? And as he chases her, we hear his monologue. Damn it, Felicia has a son? Can't be. I mean, could be. And I could be. No.
What?
No, not going to think about it right away.
Yeah.
Why?
The Spider-Man and
I told you there was
Black Cat
I told you there was history there.
It's
MJ.
Dated and shagged.
Oh! I'm not gonna lie, I fully took that as, is she my mum?
Oh, no. What? No. Maybe
like-
he's the dad.
She's like 25. No, maybe a bit older.
man.
We phone MJ after this frightening realization. MJ, I found the cat, but she got away.
And I might be a dad.
Really? How methodical of her. MJ. She stole another data drive. Wonder what's on him. Did you learn anything else? Well, not much. Sounds like she's helping Hammerhead, making a power play for the other crime families. We make our rounds. We get a call from a familiar voice. It's Screwball.
Yay!
What's up, SM? It's your number one fan. Oh, Screwball, don't tell me you're out of jail. I sure am, and I brought some of my fans with me. Aren't they just the cutest? They're helping me set up for my new show. And in fact, I'd love for you to swing by. TTYL.
My fans are EP Spider-Man.
They would be.
This is essentially a new, much more in-depth round of Screwball challenges. There's a new dynamic where Peter will arrive at a scene. There is a camera set up recording and a screen there. Pete walks up and like waves to like wearily accept the challenge, and it'll be like some goons come in. There's somewhere you just have to fight them off. There's somewhere she's like put a virus in your system, so you can only use 2 gadgets, and she's like you're only allowed to defeat them using like the electrical and the impact web, which is quite cool because there's like cool combinations you can
They're
get
really
in there.
fun challenges.
They are really good. There's somewhere she's planted bombs around the city, but crucially she's introduced a mechanic. What's it called? Did I not put? Crucially, she's introduced a new mechanic called photo bombs, where part of the challenge will be illuminated in pink. If it's a fighting challenge, lights will come on throughout the fight. If it's a swing around the city challenge, there'll be specific points. When you hit them, i.e. defeat a baddie in that area or swing through something specifically, time will freeze. You will see a live stream screen with a little like fucking cartoon version of her and Spider-Man in the corner and a like meter going up, and you have to hit a button at the right point to capture a photo of Spider-Man doing the cool thing, which boosts her likes, and she'll be like, yeah, likes, I love it.
I
feed
love
on
this.
them.
This is the best part of this game.
Yeah, I figured you'd like her.
Spider-Man, wasn't that exciting? Perfect way to kick off my brand new show starring you. Pretty sure you'll make time for this, because if you don't, my fans will get angry and people will die. I just love reality shows, don't you? I'll be live streaming every moment, so don't screw up. Mwah! Eventually, if we do all the challenges, we sneak into a rap party for the season that she's doing. It results in a final chase, which is quite cool. It kind of combines lots of different challenge elements as we chase her across the city for eventually catching her. Presumably this time the arrest will stick because she's been there doing a lot more. Like there's a lot more stuff. We speak to MJ again, who tells us that Felicia is going after other Magia compounds around the city, presumably to get more of these data drives. Pete says, I don't know, she seems to bring bad luck wherever she goes. Black Cat brings bad luck, MJ says. That's a little on the nose, Pete. She got another data drive, just one more, and Hammerhead has all the drives from the other Magia families. We gotta figure out what's on them. And Pete says, there's something else. There's this thing, probably not a big thing, but it could be a thing, a little thing, maybe big thing. Please say a sentence that doesn't include the word thing, she says. Okay, the reason Felicia's working for Hammerhead is because he has her son. Huh, didn't know she had a son. Well, certainly sounds like something Hammerhead would do. Yeah, but there's this other thing. You know, she and I dated for a while? Yeah, so? Oh. Are you serious?
MJ just throws up.
Yeah, literally, she goes, I mean, I don't know, but for sure it's possible. I'm sorry, I need to hang up now. And she hangs up. And she calls back a few minutes later to say, to apologize basically for overreacting. and hanging up. Actually, in the meantime,
Feels like a pretty valid reaction.
Miles calls in the meantime while we're waiting for it to call back.
Best boy's back.
And he goes, "Hey Peter, it's Miles. Is this a bad time?" "No, it's fine. What's up?" Nothing. I mean, are you doing Spider-Man stuff right now?" "A little bit, yeah." "Really? Like what, specifically?" "You mean, what am I doing right at this moment?" "Yeah, unless you think that's like a weird or creepy stalker thing." "Yeah, it probably is. I bet I sound like a stalker." "Miles, it's okay. Never mind, I'll call you back." And he hangs up.
So much.
So, Mary Jane has found the final address of the Costa family safe house. She apologizes for overreacting and says, "We weren't together at the time, and it's not like I didn't date other people." "Right," Peter says. "Wait, like people? Like plural? Or..." "The point is," Mary Jane says, "that we're adults, and there's a kid in danger, so let's get to saving him." "I don't deserve you," Peter says. "I know," says MJ.
Peter goes, "Is one of those guys called Paul?" The fan base will know exactly what I mean by that. Don't worry about it, Chase. It's a comic thing.
Okay.
Side content. Detective Mackie. We can find around the city various bits of stolen art. They're not from Black Cat, or not this one. They were stolen by the original Black Cat.
Wait, what?
We get in touch with an old, almost retired detective called Detective Mackie. He spent the early portion of his career, like 40 years ago, trying to catch the original Black Cat, whose name was Walter Hardy.
Oh.
He died trying to escape from Rikers Island, and Detective Mackie has always felt like it was kind of unresolved. So when we go and find the recovered bits of art, he'll tell us a little bit more about the case. He's also very interested in, Spider-Man doesn't want to reveal anything about Felicia, because he kind of doesn't, they're friends and they've worked together, and he doesn't necessarily want her to be arrested. So he's like, did Hardy ever have a daughter? And the detective's like, "Yeah, Felicia, lovely girl. I met her. We interviewed her. She's a real sweetheart."
Real straight shooter, that one.
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, if she was
methodical.
if she was a suspect, her like background is squeaky clean. Like there's nothing." They kind of open up to each other over the course of the game, over the course of the DLC, and Pete admits that they know each other. They've had a history, and it's difficult growing up without a father, and that he knows there's good in her. He's seen it. They've worked together. Detective Mackie says when he spoke to Hardy, the senior, back in the day, it sounded like he really didn't want his daughter to get mixed up in this stuff. Mm-hmm. As we head through the game, picking up more of these, we eventually find the final one. We call Detective Mackie, and he tells us that Walter Hardy got himself thrown in jail because the MAJIMA had a grudge out on him, and he knew that if he stayed out there, his family might be targeted, so the easiest thing to do would be to head into jail. And when he died escaping, Hardy's death squared things. If the kid had disappeared, the mob would never stop going from them. Pete says he could have turned state's evidence, gotten witness protection. Well, the Detective Mackie says the MAJIMA's got a long reach. Some things you can't come back from. But according to my records, there's only one more painting missing. When we find it, we get in touch with him. It's the last piece of Hardy's legacy. Mackie says he really can't thank you enough. And he thinks that we're right about the new cat. Look out for her. It would mean a lot to me. That's weird. What did he mean by that? I should call him back and ask him. Calls it back. This number is no longer in service. That's even weirder. Better stop by the precinct. Pete arrives at the precinct. "Hey, I'm looking for Detective Mackie." Mackie? Doesn't ring a bell. "Older guy with a mustache. Either you got the wrong precinct or someone played you." We eventually managed to get through to him, and Pete says, "Sergeant Mackie, or would you prefer Walter Hardy?"
Dun, dun, dun.
"Your daughter thinks you're dead, and let's keep her thinking that, for her sake. Deal?" "Deal? You just conned me. Why would I do anything for you?" "Because you're a decent guy. Take care of my little girl." He basically used this as a chance to scope out Pete, make sure that he's a decent guy who can look after Felicia, who he doesn't want to know what happened.
Spidey's like, "I really need to fix this blind spot I have for the
Pete
Hardy family."
Pete literally says, "I am so gullible. I need to learn how to be heartless and cynical like everyone else." One of my favourite things about him is how trusting and gullible he is.
100%.
This time, we managed to corner Felicia at the next scene. "Felicia, we need to talk. I do miss our little chats, but I've got to run." She, like, electrifies us with an event. We chase her. She goes onto a train. She shorts our web shooters.
I like this conversation happening while a guy just casually walks past you like, oh, dang. Spider-Man doesn't look to be doing too hot.
Yeah, I think that's a bug. That guy shouldn't be here.
Yeah. He's pleading with her. I can help you stop Hammerhead. How? No killing? No breaking the law? Spider-Man, your way won't get it done. Felicia, about your son, I just need to know, he's mine, and I take care of him. Stubborn little spider. We chase her as she runs onto a moving train. Our web shooters are back online, so we chase down the tunnel. She's like throwing electrical blasts at us as she tries to lose us.
She has like shock bracelets. She doesn't have any powers, Chase.
We eventually chase her to a rooftop where we end up upside down, classic Spidey pose, face to face. Pete says, "Can we talk like human beings?" "This feels pretty human to me," she says. "I know what's on those drives you're stealing. Look at you, brawn and brains. You can't give Hammerhead the last drive. Once he has what he wants, your son will just be a loose end. Let me help you." "What are you thinking?" "Stall him. Give us some time to find your son." She touches his face. "I missed you. I'm glad we're back together again." "Not like that," Pete says. "About your son, is there a chance I'm..." "Later. For now, let's find him. When he's safe, we can talk. Keep in touch, Spider." MJ's gonna kill me. So, Black Cat's off to stall Hammerhead while we all try and find her son. So bear in mind, Hammerhead is waiting for these drives to be delivered. She's gonna make it take some time. "Did she tell you if you're..." She didn't say. "Of course she didn't. Are you sure she's not just playing you? I know her. She wouldn't be working for someone like Hammerhead unless she had to." Felicia asked us to meet her at a bar across town. She got a tip from an old friend. Hammerhead's keeping something extremely valuable in an office above the bar. A lot of guys in there. If they spot me, my son's dead. So we draw them out while Felicia sneaks in, and we find out that Hammerhead recently bought a room-sized impenetrable vault to store his most high-value items, like a kidnapped kid. As we clear out the last goon, we get a sick double takedown by the two former lovebirds. Black Cat wanders behind the Magia bar, like tossing bottles to the floor before popping open a champagne and pouring herself a glass. She's narrowed it down and almost found the location of the vault. "Do you ever miss this?" she says. "What, me getting shot at while you steal things?" "I really tried going straight," she says. "Got a job that didn't involve breaking or entering. Even started wearing sweatpants on the weekends." "I wondered where you went. It must have been hard for you, especially with a child." "If I need to go deeper if I'm going to find him," she says. "Let me help. We're supposed to be working together." She hugs him. "Some things I do better alone. Some things." We have some more chats with Miles. Pete's been telling him he needs to focus on school right now. He promises he will give him some training at some point. Okay? Miles says, "I still want to stay active, so I tried out for the basketball team. That's okay, right?" "I mean, yeah, but just be careful. Keep it believable. Don't do anything too flashy." There's a pause. "Like what?" "No dunking, obviously." "Right, of course." "Miles, it was just once, and that dude was talking trash. It was so perfect. I wish you'd have been there." MJ calls, having decrypted the information that they found at the bar. The room-sized vault they were talking about is in a shipyard near Hell's Kitchen. "It's gotta be where the boy is. Thanks, MJ. Better call Felicia." Felicia finds us. "At this hour, it's either a booty call or you found something. Hopefully your son. Stop talking about your booty. No. I'm sending you an address."
Chase, I want to know your thoughts on Black Cat's outfit. Is this a swing or a miss?
Swing overall. I don't understand why this would ever shoulder harness, not sports bra thing. Why is it asymmetrical?
That was going to be my thing. Yeah, I think that's my biggest issue with the outfit.
Outside of that, great outfit. 10 out of 10. Love it. Just very confused why that's asymmetrical. Is it controversial to say this is a much better outfit than any Catwoman outfit?
You can say what you like. I disagree, but fair enough.
I like this one.
I think there's too many lines on it.
Nah, I like it.
We make our way to the shipyard, discovering containers, but no child in there. Only military equipment. Sable military equipment. Enough to arm a small nation. Magia thugs pull up in armoured sable trucks, brandishing futuristic guns and batons.
Are we to assume these are stolen or they're working together?
Felicia is nowhere to be found as we battle our way through the aggravated Italians. Felicia seems to have made for the main office, where we discover a vault door. Good question on the Magia. I think we're to assume this is stolen.
Okay.
At this already. It's not much of a spoiler. But yeah, so you've got these vicious mafioso types, and they're now starting to have like laser guns and battle armor and stuff.
So they're just making it Sable stuff to explain that.
These become by the end of this the hardest enemies in the whole game.
Yeah.
So we discover an open vault door. Inside there is even more equipment, and on a desk, an empty container with a space where a USB drive should have been, and a black cat statue.
I didn't realize that's what the black cat statues look like, and that is my favorite thing.
The door closes.
I need that statue.
The door closes and locks behind us. Peter calls her. Please tell me you weren't just stringing me on. Sorry, sweetie, but I needed help to pull off a job this big. All you ever wanted was Hammerhead's drive. The entire wealth of the Magia, she says, in the palm of my hand. You gave Hammerhead fake drives? You think he's going to be mad at me?
So what, there's no kid?
So, the kidnapping, your son, it was all a lie? Lie is such an ugly word. I prefer misdirection. Do the right thing. Take the drives to the police. Hey, I earned these. Besides, Hammerhead's on a mission. Nothing's going to stop him. If anything, I just helped slow him down a bit. And she disappears. This is our first look at Hammerhead, by the way.
Hammerhead is pretty much like a walking ship of Theseus. That's his whole thing. It's like,
What does that mean?
as in like,
He's just got a big metal plate in his head at this point. We've been played. Felicia's played us like a balalaika, and she's gone. The vault is unlocked by...
First of all, sorry, just to comment on that, because what do you think of that, Chase? She has shown up, lied about a child, insinuated quite heavily that Peter is the dad just to con him.
Yeah.
It's pretty, like, bad guy stuff.
I mean, is she not a bad guy technically?
Yeah, it's just, I think that's, like, especially vicious and cruel,
I
to
mean,
be frank.
it seems basically identical to the Catwoman thing. She is a bad guy. She's just a bad guy that the hero fucked.
Some Hammerhead goons unlock the vault, and Spider-Man kind of whooshes to the ceiling. They're on the phone to the boss. Drive's gone, one of them says, and we hear Hammerhead's voice on the other side. New plan. There's a tracker on that drive. Find her and kill her. If she's dumb enough to go to her little penthouse, I've got a crew there waiting to send it sky high. What about the drives? I don't care about the drives. I just want it dead. We speed out into the night, racing towards Felicia's penthouse, trying her on the phone as we go. Miss me already? Hammerhead knows where you are. He's going to kill you. There's a tracker on his drive. I don't get you, Spider. I just conned the hell out of you. And here you are trying to save me. How can you be so damn nice all the time? It's not about being nice. It's about doing the right thing. You've got so many talents. I wish you'd just use them to help people other than yourself. Yeah, well, you should know by now that's not how I roll. People can change, Felicia. I love you, Spider. I'll miss you. Wait, your penthouse! You've got it rigged to explode! Don't worry, I've still got all 9 lives left. We get close. Peter flies towards her roof right as she puts her hand on the door. She turns to him, smiles when she sees him as his spider senses blare. Bang. The penthouse is obliterated as an explosion rocks the building.
What, did you not believe him?
And from a nearby roof, Hammerhead watches on.
Ew. Gross looking guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Rip.
Black Cat deed.
Is she dead?
We just saw her blow up.
We've seen other people blow up too.
Her arrogance took her out in the end. She thought that she got the best of Hammerhead, thought she was too smart for him.
Peter sits in the diner with MJ.
Don't worry, I never had a kid. We don't have to worry about that plot thread ever again.
Literally.
And then she's like, well, actually.
MJ is asking him about what happened. And she says, they still haven't found a body? No. Do you think she survived?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, anything's possible. So how does it feel, she asks, to not be a dad? And she kind of laughs like she's nervous. And she's like, no, I'm being serious. Honestly, says Pete, I'm kind of relieved. I got a lot going on, you know? Yeah, you do. But I think you're going to be an amazing dad someday. at the right time.
Now put some babies in me.
Pete holds her hand and says, with the right person. Thanks for undermining that moment with your fucking...
It's a really lovely beat in their relationship. They both just agreed that one day they might have
Put
kids.
some babies in me.
Jesus Christ. Spider-Man.
Pump me with your spider webs.
Next episode.
Part 2. Turf Wars.
Yeah.
Another board. This time with Captain Yuri Watanabe voicing over. Situation report. Felicia Hardy, a.k.a. the Black Cat, is missing, presumed dead. She had a partnership with Majima Don Hammerhead to blackmail the other family's leadership. Hardy betrayed Hammerhead. Using appropriated Sable weaponry, he retaliated aggressively. Both Hardy and the blackmail material were lost in the attack. Now Hammerhead is out for blood. Blackmail no longer an option, he's gone to the mattresses, hoping to eliminate the other Dons by force. To do this, he's continued to appropriate the heavy arms Sable left when they pulled up stake. It's an all-out gang war, and New York is caught in the middle. However, the other Majima Dons have Hammerhead pinned in the old Harlem sanitarium. If we can get his men distracted, a small team may be able to infiltrate the building and take him alive. We got one shot at this. We have to make it count.
I love the idea that this is like in a closet at the police station that she's been like locking when she leaves. Someone walks in like, whoops, so she's like in there with like a torch over her face. September 8th.
Outside the sanatorium. Sanitarium?
Sure.
There's a gunfight between the different Majima families. Yuri and Spidey survey the scene from a neighboring rooftop. It's getting bad down there. Ready when you are. Copy that. Spidey says he'll distract them before turning to Yuri's little squad on the roof. You gentlemen ready?
Question I feel like I should have asked ages ago. How common is Yuri in the comics? Because I've literally never even heard her name before.
She's a more recent addition. Yeah. Because he never really had a prominent person on the police who he could...
No, he doesn't have a Commissioner Gordon or
Yeah.
anything, but that's kind of what they've done with her.
Yeah. So Spidey turns to Yuri's squad on the roof. You gentlemen ready? This is like the other little group of guys who don't mind Spider-Man. One of them, Lieutenant Drake, wants us to check out his new Spider-Man watch. Spidey goes, nice! Yuri says...
He goes, do you want to see my Spidey boxers?
Yuri says, it's not regulation. And Lieutenant Drake says... Sorry, Captain. Birthday present from the kid. Not every day you run-ups with the big man, you know? It's so cute.
It's a really nice watch for a kid to buy him.
Yeah, Yuri grins, and it's like a lead slide this time.
Like, that looks like one of those, like, when a big watch company like Rolex, like, does a collab.
You know it is totally that guy's wife who's like, hey, like, little Johnny got you this. And Johnny's, like, dribbling in the corner because he's 0
No,
years old.
it's his biggest fan.
Like, you know that under that glass, that's like Swarovski crystals making that fucking Spider-Man head.
I disagree. I think you could get this watch for $200. It's quite... Spidey shoots webs between the buildings, which the tactical team then uses to zip line across. Spidey fights off the feuding families while the team break in secretly. There are now Mafia using jetpacks, laser shields, and a combination of both, which is...
I'm sorry, what?
We're in the DLC now. Everyone's maxed out with their leveling.
We head into the depths of the sanatorium. Peter is scared that there might be bathroom ghosts.
Excuse me?
Surely every sanatorium isn't haunted by the spirits of those who were mistreated there, but this one definitely is.
Yeah.
We make our way towards the basement and discover Hammerhead's base of operations. Pictures of other Majima Dons used for kind of knife throwing practice. A New York map with districts being gambled over, like he and his cronies are sitting around.
Mr. Weirdface.
Oh, it is Mr. Weirdface. The same.
You said I wasn't have to worry about him.
You still don't.
I'm worried.
This is the second and final time, I think.
I don't think either of us know his name.
He's maybe Don Cicero, maybe.
Monty.
So yeah, there's a map of New York, and there are like gambling chips. Like his men are gambling over which bits of New York they're gonna get after they win. We find live video gear, like a big recording setup, and plans...
Is it Screwball's live streaming gear?
Similar, and plans for a mysterious piece of equipment. So it's something man-sized, something a person could get into. Peter looks at a CCTV station. Oh yeah, there's the diagram for this piece of equipment. Confidential. Peter looks at a CCTV station just in time to see Hammerhead. He's got Yuri's men... and he's got a gun to her head. Thing is, I'm a gentleman. Knocked and you could have come right in. But you had to go and sneak around. He lifts one of Yuri's men up by his throat, like easily off the ground up to his... Because like, Hammerhead's like 7 foot tall. Easily off the ground. She glares at him, sheer hatred twisting her face. That's the problem with you new cops. Hammerhead headbutts the cop and you hear a metal like ringing out, like a thunk ringing out, and he's like instantly killed. Like he just headbutts him once and the cop's blood like is over his head. Jesus. That's the problem with you cops. No respect. And he throws the lifeless body across the room, landing on like a pile of other team members that he's been executing.
I like the thought that his name is not Hammerhead because of the shark, but because he goes around...
He is a hammerhead. Yeah, it is excellent, yeah.
He is a monster. This is a great scene.
As he rounds, so there's the pile of Yuri's colleagues that he's already killed.
He's hammered their heads.
Yeah, he rounds on Yuri, and Lieutenant Drake shouts out, trying to distract him. Coward! He yells.
By the way, do you want to see my watch?
Hammerhead wipes the blood from his head and smacks it across Yuri's face.
Ooh, hot.
No.
Kinky.
This is, I would argue, Chase, this is like the darkest villain intro in the game.
It's so clear that we're on Sunday afternoon.
You've got like the terrorist attack in the first game, which is horrific, and then this.
So he turns towards Drake. Of course, used to be, we earned your respect. You hit us, we hit back. Made you know your place. Gave you fear. He lifts Drake up. But now, Drake spits in his face, like he's not fucking going down. Now you think a stiff breeze will blow us over. Yuri is helpless as Hammerhead throws Drake against a wall, signaling to have one of Sable's machine guns passed to him. He aims it at Lieutenant Drake. Time to bring the fear back. Yuri notices her own...
Weird-ass looking gun.
It's a Sable future gun.
Yeah.
Yuri notices her own guard's attention slipping. She grabs his handgun and axe kicks him to the floor. Drake uses the moment to lunge at Hammerhead, and Yuri eliminates the other guards John Wick style. Like, she fucking executes them. It's brutal. As she aims at Hammerhead, he has his rifle at the back of Drake's skull. Drake apologizes to her. Sorry, Cap. And Hammerhead leers behind him. There it is. There's the fear. Do it, Cap. Do it! Shouts Drake. Yuri is like considering what to do. She screams in torment just as webs fly into the room, disarming Hammerhead as other guards rush in firing guns. All the lights in the room go out, like the bulb gets shut out, and I couldn't really capture this, but it's just flashes, only illuminated by gunfire, like it's pitch black, and you just see flashes of like muzzle flare and what's happening, people shooting, it's just chaos. And we just see Hammerhead managing to flee. Then comes quiet, but for the repeated clicking of Yuri's gun, now empty. She flicks on a lighter and gasps at what she sees. She sees Spidey holding Drake's body in the dark.
Oh.
The face of his Spider-Man watch is cracked, but the hands keep ticking. She collapses to her knees and the scene fades.
Boo.
We head back out, and Yuri tells us that she needs to call her men's families. She'll need a bit of time, but she still wants to be kept in the loop. They're not going to stop Hammerhead, she says. They're going to nail him to the wall. Pete's first stop is
a hammer for that.
Pete's first stop is the legendary bar with no name. The city's go-to for goons and mobsters, serving drinks to anyone on the other side of the law. We can't go in ourselves, obviously, so we send our little friend Spiderbot. We discover from eavesdropping in the bar that Hammerhead is working on something unnatural, something that he's doing to himself. Project Olympus. One of the guys is talking about this and he's like, it's unnatural. And the other one goes, and what, your tribal tattoo is natural?
Sure.
Just the worst thing you could ink on yourself, to be fair.
As a white person with no connection, yeah.
I guess.
We also learn that Hammerhead is planning to take out every other Magiodon at once. They're all holed up in a theater, and we need to get there before Hammerhead does.
Do the other ones have important names?
No.
Okay.
I think one of them's Cicero, but it doesn't matter.
I like how clearly he's so powerful. The others are like, we're enemy families, but we're gonna band together.
Yeah, and like the other families were working together for years before this all happened, and it was kind of like, who's gonna break rank first? And it was Hammerhead.
This wouldn't have happened under Fisk.
It wouldn't have happened under Fisk. Yeah,
Was Fisk technically was he a mafia don?
near enough as to make. He's not a mafia don. He's not in the Cosa Nostra. He doesn't have their rules. He doesn't have their tradition. But he is in charge of all crime. So like, effectively, he's all of their boss.
He is quite literally the kingpin of crime.
Yeah.
That's where he gets the name.
They're hiding in the theatre, and we need to get there before Hammerhead does. We tell Spiderbot to go and hide, and we'll come back for him later.
Come back for you later, Spider-Bot.
At the theatre, I love that noise. At the theatre, a cadre of mafiosos guard the entrance. The Dons must be inside. Just then, the ground starts to shake.
Oh, rumble, rumble, rumble.
And rolling digger tube things burst up from under the street.
Yeah, great.
The sides slide open, and Hammerhead's men fire from inside, cutting down all the guards outside.
Is this also a Sable thing? Question mark.
Why did Sable ever make these dumb dig things? Says Spidey. I gotta come up with a better name for them. I think he settles on Dig Boys.
Yeah.
That feels like something I'd come up with.
Yeah.
Dig Boys. That's what. Yeah, Dig Boys. And like, as we're outside a theater, some of his quips might include, you know, if you just stayed at home, you wouldn't have had to pay so much for popcorn.
Yeah.
The Mafia guys are the funniest to fight because there's some of their dialogue is because everyone's talking during fights. And like, one of their lines of dialogue, which you hear a lot, is just, oh no!
Yeah.
Once we've cleared the streets, we head into the theatre to make sure the Dons are safe. Pete arrives to find an empty room with a massive hole in the floor. Right, because of the digging tank things, obviously. This did not go well, and Yuri is furious at us. You promised her you would take care of this. No more time off. She's back on this now. He thinks she needs to learn not to shoulder all that responsibility, then catches himself on, says the king of shouldering too much responsibility. Across the city, Hammerhead has taken the war fully to the police. We find battlegrounds all over, with dig boys emerging from under the feet of our vicious gooners. Yuri continues to lose more men. Hammerhead keeps us busy enough that we can't possibly save everyone. Pete worries that Yuri may be approaching a breaking point. Yeah, at one point, we are dragged to like 2 different locations, and by the time we get to Yuri, there's already been a bombing, and the ground is like littered with injured mafia and dead police, and Yuri is hunched over the bodies of one of her men. Hammerhead bombed the building and stole all the files on something called Project Olympus. She's had enough. Where are you going? He asks her.
Wait, I thought Project Olympus was his thing.
Yeah, but they're stealing the police files on it.
Oh, so basically like, police, you're losing all your info that you had.
Yeah.
I see, cool.
Pete asks her where she's going. To teach a lesson in fear. Pete gets in her way, like begging her, puts an arm in front of her, and he's like, please, just breathe. And she says, you can move, or I can arrest you. Pete raises his arms and backs away, begging her to work with him, and she just warns us to stay out of the way. Later on, we get a disturbing call. Shots have been fired at the bar with no name. We arrive before the police, finding a brutal scene. The place is destroyed and littered with the bodies of Hammerhead's men. We find Spiderbot! Yay! Nice. We recover him. Hello. 10 out of 10. We also find a ringing mobile belonging to one of the ex-goons. Upon picking it up, we hear Vinny on the other end, telling us, Gino, that the lady cop just shot up one of the warehouses. She's on a tear. He also tells us to get ready for the big show at the rally point tonight. Through some snooping and booping, we discover the location of the big show.
Yep. And
it's not, in Spider-Man's words, in Broadway or off Broadway or experimental black box theater. We arrive at a construction site, as always. There is a hole dug in the ground, filled with all the dons of the Magia families.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah.
Shit.
Blindfolded and bound, with a cement mixer positioned above them.
Oh my god. Jesus.
From the roof of a construction site, a voice comes. Look who it is. The Bug. Just in time for the broadcast. Good evening, New York. Welcome to tonight's entertainment, the changing of the guard. He signals, and cement begins to pour into the ditch, quickly rising to cover the Don's feet. Remember when all honor and loyalty weren't just words? When the Magia were feared and respected? Tonight, the good old days are coming back. Fight, fight, cement, fight. After saving the Dons and beating Hammerhead's army, we head to the roofside. We head roofside to confront Mr. Tall, Dark, and Flat-Headed.
Oh god, yeah.
Hammerhead emerges, now clad
What?
in a mechanized sable armor from the neck down.
What?
You like, he says, Project Olympus in action. He seems to be kind of encased in armor. So that's what they're wearing in Paris this season. Hate to say it, but Gumbrush Metal is not your color. Time to bring back the glory days, he says. He's quick, with rockets in his feet and freaking lasers on his arms.
Lasers.
His most devastating attack, though, is a headbutt, which on like certain difficulties takes out like most of your health. After a long...
So basically, he didn't even need the weapons. He could have just used his head.
Well, he's like almost unbeatable as he is right now, though. Like he's almost impenetrable. But after a long scrap, we appear to have got the best of our mechanized mate, and he's kind of on his knees as the police run onto the roof, brandishing their guns at the wannabe kingpin. Turning yourself into a crime against nature maybe wasn't such a good idea after all, huh? He tells us, though, that the old school Magia has patience, knows how to wait until just the right minute too. A gunshot interrupts him, smashing him in the back, and he falls to the floor. Captain Yuri Watanabe stands behind him. She throws a device on the ground which electrifies Spider-Man, the same kind that Silver Sable used to use. He begs with her as she levels her rifle at Hammerhead and fires again and again. You can see like the genuine fear on his face. Her men are behind her, screaming at her, begging her to stop. Captain, no! But she fires again, kicking him to the edge of the building. Helpless, he scrambles at her feet as she puts her hand around his throat and the gun in his face. Last time we met, you said something about fear. How do you feel now? Just dandy, he says, but he does not look it. Her finger begins to squeeze around the trigger as Peter breaks free, his webs hitting the gun just as the shot rings out. The bullet slices up the side of his head, ripping open his forehead and exposing the metal underneath. Yuri turns and sees the shocked faces of her men. And the scene fades.
Shit.
In a New York ambulance, Hammerhead is in a body bag, escorted by 2 officers.
Wait, is he dead?
Feel bad for the captain, one says, but I'm just glad this monster's dead.
I thought that she missed and it just got some...
Feel bad for the captain, but I'm glad this monster's dead. Who says he's dead? Says the other cop, before smashing the woman in the face, knocking her unconscious, opening a bag, and jamming a taser into Hammerhead's neck.
Sure.
He twitches uncontrollably,
I guess.
before gasping awake and
That is
staring
the
into
worst picture of it.
This.
It is like someone at Insomniac was challenged with making the world's ugliest man, and this is what they came up with.
That is the
He has
goofiest
beautiful
looking-
eyes.
Yeah.
That is the beautiful eyes. That is the goofiest picture I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's
He
great.
stares into the camera, and we cut to black. End of part 2.
Ooh.
Can I make a pre-comment on part 3?
Please.
I did notice on the 3 little pictures that this one has Silver Sable, and I really like the thought that she just heard that everybody kept stealing her equipment, and she's like, God fucking, I'm coming back to, it's mine!
Yeah.
So this is just the cleanup mission to go take all her equipment back.
Could be. What do we think? Yuri's just tried to execute a man in front of all of her men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You worried about her?
Oh.
Cool.
Okay.
That's that then.
How are the guys that were in the cement pit doing? They dead?
Oh no, sorry. I thought that my line, my very descriptive line, punch, punch, cement, punch.
Were we punching the cement?
Just to clarify, we punch anyone that tries to turn on the cement. We have to like keep people away from it, and eventually, the cops. It gets up to like their thighs, and the cops are like, "We'll get them out."
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fine. Part 3, Silver Linings. MJ voices over our final investigation board of the DLC. Mary Jane Watson, Associate Editor. Begin research notes. What started as a museum heist a few days ago has turned into a brutal assault on the city. Last night, after almost killing Majima Don Hammerhead, Captain Yuri Watanabe was forced into administrative leave. Sources say she told the chief, "This won't stop me."
Oh.
Hammerhead has escaped custody, but there are no solid leads.
Is Yuri about to become a villain?
His men continue to track down Sable gear, including something called Project Olympus. From what we can gather, Project Olympus is an Oscorp-funded Sable initiative, bio-enhancing technology meant to transform people into indestructible super soldiers. Hammerhead is ruthless and insane, and now apparently indestructible. But first things first, figure out where he's hiding. And what are we going to do when we find him?
Super soldier program. That's never gone wrong.
We follow police cars to an Oscorp plant. Sounds like Hammerhead's guys are at it again. MJ hasn't heard any more about Yuri, and she can tell Peter misses her. They're a good team. The Olympus contract is for Sable International, part of a deal she made with Osborn during the Devil's Breath crisis. And MJ has learned that it's all supposed to be shipping overseas to Symkaria. Silver Sable's
What?
to Symkaria, Silver Sable's home country and the site of an increasingly bloody civil war. MJ thinks it's a hell of a story. She also suggests they should probably take a vacation soon, and Spider-Man says he's never really had one of those. What does that mean?
No, we saw his jar at the start of the game.
She's the money. She'll give him a little treat.
Treat.
Olympus armored Sable men are menacing the police when the webhead arrives. "Is this a dance-off? I love those! My turn! Your new armor is cool and all, but I miss your desperate attempts at 70s gangster fashion. Hey, are you guys all friends outside of work?" This is while he's like beating them up. "Or are you just co-workers?" He, in a move that I'm not sure is racist or not, calls them all Vinny. He's like, "Hey, Vinny, meet Vinny! Oh, you must be Vinny too!" One Vinny in a jetpack says he wants to play Save the Pig and grabs a cop, flying him up into the sky. We chase him down to a roof cop where he holds said cop over the edge of a roof.
Cop.
"Come closer, I dare you." Now, is that like a regular dare or like a double dog dare? Spidey's voice falters as a Sable quad jet rises up behind the man. The man goes, "Is that yours?" "No. It'd be so awesome if it was." The cockpit visor slides up, revealing Silver Sable. She snarls furiously and opens fire on the goon, who promptly drops that cop.
"Why are you using my toys?"
We dive off the building to save him. We grab onto the jetpack guy. We web the cop. We web them together, and we web the jetpack guy to the side of a wall. Sable flies the ship close before opening the cockpit and stepping out, pointing twin guns in the man's face. "Who do you work for?" "She works for Hammerhead." Yeah, the guy can't talk because he webbed up, so Pete's like, "She works for Hammerhead." "Where is this Hammerhead?" She points her other gun at Spidey. Whoa. Can't we go and get a coffee and catch up like normal people? By the way, I love your new hovercraft thing. She tells us we have 3 seconds and begins counting down. 3, 2, Spidey's just like, 6, 9, 11:07, and she opens fire and we begin to fight. Silver Sable is still badass, and it's a relatively tough fight. She just constantly swings at us and we need to dodge. He's begging her they work together, but she says it will never happen. Wait, have you been listening to Jameson's podcasts? "You were supposed to be the protector of this city, and you allowed Hammerhead to steal all of my weapons and supplies."
I was right! It's a cleanup mission!
Yeah. She says we're failing badly. Perhaps we're even working with him. Stay out of her way or suffer the consequences. She's going to kill Hammerhead. The goon in the jetpack manages to free himself and fly off. She leaps into the hover thingy, ready to pursue. Spidey shouts in response, "I thought you were one of the good guys now." "I am good at what I do, but I am not a guy." She flies away.
Is that actually what she says?
Yeah.
I hate it.
She flies away, and the backdraft blows him off the edge of a building, and he manages to catch on, and he's swinging like a pendulum between below the building between an Oscorp sign. He's like, lost in translation, I guess. MJ suggests a team up, which Spidey doesn't think sounds likely. MJ's looking into the story in Symkaria. Rebels there are fighting a brutal dictatorship, and it's not getting much coverage on Western news networks. MJ also comments that Spidey seems to have a lot of women in his life lately, and all of them are challenging. Except for you, of course. And MJ goes, "You don't think I'm challenging?" No, unless you want me to think that, in which case you challenge me in all the right ways." "Well done," she says. Through more researching, MJ discovers that this sable tech stashed around the city was bound for some carrier, meant for the oppressed population to aid in their fight. Another site, we find men loading Project Olympus gear into trucks. As we chase them down, the hoverjet appears, opening fire once more on the trucks as we head down the busy New York streets. It's like a really cool chase right round the financial district. Yeah. It's carnage, not that one. And Hammerhead has futuristic drones trailing the chase, blasting the scene with lasers as we crash through the financial district. Finally, Sable shoots the last truck to a stop. She's about to execute the guard who refuses to give up Hammerhead's location when Spidey catches up. Look, we both want the same thing. If we work together, we'll find him. Trust me. And immediately she goes, right, we work together, like partners. And they shake hands. She pulls him into like an awkward arm hold thing, and we see her leave a tracking beacon on his arm, which like vanishes as soon as she lets go of it, and she leaves immediately. And he comments that he's 70% sure she's not a robot. Round the corner, we find an armoured Hammerhead crew kicking a Sable man half to death. Oh, that's her putting the tracker on. We rescue him. This is David Obademi. He's been trying to recover aid packages, humanitarian supplies bound for some carrier. We help him recover these packages. It's a kind of side content, and also to give us a bit of like humanizing side to some of the Sable guys, because he's a really decent fella who just wants to get aid to some carrier. Spidey muses that he wishes MJ and he could talk normally about things on the phone, like normal people. They always seem to be talking about a crisis. She obliges. Honey, how was your day? Well, Sable and I caught some bad guys. Hammerhead's been using Project Olympus to improve himself further. If we don't stop him soon, he may become unstoppable. After stopping another round of goons on the street, one of them, slumped against a wall, asks us for a favour. Hey, Spider-Man, you see that Sable chick? You tell her my boss wants to have a sit-down. Yeah, I could, but she doesn't really listen to me, or anyone. Just then, Silver Sable dematerializes behind us, decloaking herself and marching up to the man. Give me the address. She has like clearly just been wherever we are, invisible, following us with the beacon.
She's like the goddamn Terminator.
She really is. He tells her that he's waiting at the Colexo building, rooftop. She follows she heads off immediately in the jet, and we follow, calling her to let her know that it is definitely a trap. We catch up to her on the rooftop, where there's some kind of tractor beam holding her ship in place. Spidey comments, "Oh, hey, look, a trap. If only we had some kind of advance warning." We help free her ship, jumping on the cockpit, as an explosion destroys part of the roof. The ship is smacked by debris and starts kind of smoking and falling out of the sky. As the smoke clears on the rooftop, we see him, the new and improved Hammerhead. Almost all machine, the only thing remaining, his head.
This is why Neil shushed me earlier, Chase. I didn't mean to hint at this.
Yeah.
I was mainly talking about the metal plate in his head, but walking ship of Theseus.
I still don't understand what that means.
As in, like, what his body is gone. All that remains now is like his face. Like he's just every bit of it's just been replaced.
Am I just dumb? What does that have to do with this?
Ship of Theseus is a philosophical thought experiment. Basically, it goes along the lines of the Ship of Theseus needs parts replaced. After 10 years, every part of the Ship of Theseus has at one point or another been replaced. Is it still the Ship of Theseus?
I see.
And
in this case, it's still Hammerhead.
And if you use the original parts to build a second ship, which one is the Ship of Theseus?
I see.
He jumps onto the flailing hovercraft, making short work of Spider-Man, attempting to like hold his head into the rotors of the hovercraft. It's pretty brutal. Sable attempts to save us, jumping out of the cockpit and opening fire, but he grabs them both. His voice sounds metallic. 2 for 1. My lucky day. He readies the killing blow, winding back his head ready to crush ours. Black Cat swings in.
Yay!
Landing on his chest, grabbing her ex-boo, and getting the fuck out of there.
But not Sable. Just Peter.
She can only grab one. She doesn't know who this is. She doesn't care. The ship plummets towards the ground and crashes hard, Sable left among the rubble.
Okay.
Hammerhead finds her, dragging her away and laughing maniacally. On a nearby roof, Felicia Hardy drops Spidey to the ground. You're alive! Did you honestly think I was dead? I want to play her theme music after this because it's so great. It's like mischievous and mysterious, and yeah, it's just...
She only lost 1 of her 9 lives.
Yeah. Did you honestly think I was dead? How'd you find me? Same way she did. She, like, runs her hand over his arm and plucks off the little tracking device. Watch out. That girl has trust issues. How long have you been watching us? Long enough to know you're making a mistake. He's gotten too powerful. Do you really think I have a choice? She pulls us in close, handing us the final USB stick. Everything you need to know about that ugly thing. I'm sorry for what I did to you. But now we're even. One more thing. His head, not as strong as you think it is. She flies from the building, Spidey saying goodbye to... Bye, Felicia, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia.
Upon climbing a rooftop, covered with yellow police tape, like a kind of moody art scene, Pete finds a police report, like very deliberately placed in the middle of it. On the voice recording, which is kind of part of the case file, we hear a therapist speaking. So, you have some work-related stress. You came to the right place. That's my specialty. So they tell me. Give me some more specifics about how you're feeling. Guess you could say I put a lot of pressure on myself. I like to be the best. Plus, I have a very demanding boss. What kind of work do you do? Everything here stays confidential, right? Of course. Good, because if any of this gets out, you're a dead man. Upon collecting more of these files, we listen to the audio, and it's essentially a therapist with one of the mob guys coming in. He's slowly letting him know more and more about he's one of Hammerhead's hitmen. Okay, he kills anyone indiscriminately. The police can't catch him. Ha ha ha. And he tells eventually, after a couple of recordings, he tells the therapist, I know that Yuri Watanabe is one of your clients, and you're going to tell me when she next has a session. And the therapist is like, haha, I will do that. And I know who you are. I knew the moment you stepped in here, I need you to do something for me. I need you to take care of one of my clients.
What?
This all happens. And then eventually we find more and more recordings. And it turns out the therapist is actually one of Yuri's men trying to entrap the killer. And then we hear a final recording, which is a recorded call of the therapist calling Yuri, the therapist in inverted commas, calling Yuri to say, hey, we almost got him. I'm meeting him today. You can come and arrest him. And a voice coming out behind him and going, hey, Doc, didn't expect to see you here. And him being shot dead.
Oh, no.
Upon finding all of the crime recordings, we get a call from an unknown number. Yuri's voice is on the other end. First time she's called in a long time. Hello, old friend. Yuri? Meet me at the corner of Madison and 23rd. We need to talk. We reach the location. There is like a body strung up with police tape leading all around it. Like a very grisly fucking...
Okay.
Yeah, it's very ARKHAM.
Is it the...
It's the MAJIMA enforcer who was on the tapes. And the case files from all his victims are like linked to each one of the strands of police.
So what, assumedly killed by Yuri?
Yuri phones. I know what you're going to say, but just hear me out. The system works some of the time, but there are times when it doesn't, and to me that's unacceptable. Some people put their trust in fate or karma or whatever, but I can only trust me. You can't kill people, Yuri. Apparently I can. And you know what? It felt good. You need to turn yourself in. For what? I dispensed justice, true justice, and I restored a little bit of balance to the world. You're my friend, Yuri. I don't want to come after you. You do what you have to do, and I'll do what I have to do. Goodbye, Spider-Man. And that's that.
Oh, nice. Batty for game 2.
Mary Jane says she knew all along, definitely, that Black Cat wasn't dead. Also, she's been reading more about Symkaria. It's a big story. One she feels she needs to be a part of. Her boss agrees, and she's leaving tonight. The US is ignoring this, and she needs to share it with the world. It could even save lives. Spoken like a true hero, Spidey says. He chooses in this moment not to let his fear rule her. He trusts her, and she knows she has to do this. We learn that Hammerhead has Silver Sable in an underground base. We sneak in through the sewers. Spidey testing the echo as he swings through. He's just like, hello! Even without everything going on. We make our way further underground. We find a voice recording of Hammerhead. It's like one of his bases. That cop almost killed me. You thought you said I'd be indestructible. There's the person he's speaking to is a kidnapped Oscorp scientist who's basically forcing to help him with Project Olympus. I said almost indestructible. After all, you're still human. Then make me less human. I'm not sure what that means. I mean what I said. We uncover his plans to lure Sable out by stealing her tech and kidnapping her. She took over the city in a matter of days. If they want the best equipment and the best chance, they need her.
Yeah.
We find another more gruesome tape of Hammerhead eventually using the kidnapped Oscorp scientist as one of the first test subjects for Project Olympus, like putting him in this container and testing on him. Screams ring out through the tunnel. We find Sable tied to a board, a Hammerhead thug torturing her with a drill. Like he's like drilled into her shoulder and is like ready to do it again. Spidey frees her and she beats the man bloody before collapsing to the floor, clutching her own bloodied shoulder.
Don't mess with Silver Sable.
He reaches out a hand and helps her to her feet. You came back for me. Why? Because I need you. I work alone. I used to say the same thing. I know what's happening in Symkaria. I know why this means so much to you. You think you know, but you do not know. What can I do to make you trust me? I think I know how to take that monster down, but I can't do it alone. Some more thugs find us, emerging from the chrysalis of their Project Olympus pods. Okay, says Pete, here's the plan. She roars and flips towards them, shooting indiscriminately at the supergoons. Good plan, Pete thinks. As we take out the last goon with a sick double team move.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Spidey webs down. There you go.
I like them going for the high five there.
My attempt at the gif. Oh, you have no idea. Spidey webs down beside Sable. That was awesome.
Are they gonna kiss?
High five. She leaves us hanging. He's still in the background there, waiting for his high five. And we begin to analyze the information on the drive. You know you left me hanging, right? Pete optimistically holding out his hand again, which is promptly ignored.
Hysterical.
There are medical records on this drive. I love this shot of him just annoyingly putting his head into shot while she's reading the computer. There are medical records on this drive, mostly about the plate in his head. It's made of carbon steel. Super strong, but pretty sensitive too. They look at each other and answer in unison. Heat. Pete holds up his hand again. She stares at him for a moment, considering. I will call soon. She slaps his hand as she leaves the scene.
We'll take it.
Ow! He says, and Sable allows herself a little smile when he's not watching. She calls us, telling us to meet at her secret base. How does she have a secret base in a city that we don't know anything about? She hangs up.
It's a massive fucking city. There's plenty of places to hide it.
Maybe she didn't hang up on purpose, Pete thinks. We probably just got disconnected. She could be waiting for us to call her back. Or she could be out of minutes on her plan. I mean, she's probably doing international roaming. That stuff is expensive. Maybe she just needed...
Oh god, oh no, it is minutes! They do have minutes in their plan! Every time Yuri called, his fucking phone bill was going up!
Maybe she just really needed to polish her pistols. Let's apply Occam's razor. The simple and most obvious explanation is... She hates me. Logic takes the fun out of everything. We arrive at the Hudson, where Sable flies us into the middle of the river before uncloaking a massive floating fortress. Your toys are so much cooler than mine. But now that all of New York has seen it, Hammerhead will probably be here soon. She's counting on it.
That's extra funny, Spider-Man's obsession with her vehicles, because Spider-Man has had, in fact, a Spider-Mobile chase.
Has he?
Yeah, there was a period of time, but then obviously everyone reading
And a
was like,
spider-copter.
And a Spider-Copter.
Why would he need
I
that?
do
Why would
remember
he need them?
Spider-Copter.
Yeah.
We help her calibrate a laser relay. She's basically had this thing shipped in, a huge laser gun attached to her ship.
Of course.
If we can hold him still, focus the laser on his head, heating the carbon to critical levels, it'll soften him up to let Spidey knock him out. How do you know this won't melt his brain? Spidey asks.
Legit.
When the wolf attacks the sheep, he risks getting shot by the shepherd.
Sure.
And Spidey's like, okay, but can we remember my no-killing rule? Just as we finish, the big man arrives, blasting lasers all around the base. You two teaming up now? Cute. But it ain't gonna do you no good. He is probably the hardest fight in the whole game.
Yeah, this is a great fight.
We have to avoid several lethal attacks, and he's quick. He's got the lasers, he's got goons that come and help, he's got the flying rocket boots, he's also now got, like, armor that covers him. He's difficult. All we can do is occasionally hold him down as Saber blasts the laser into his head.
The only thing I can think watching this is that this devalues the base game and all the work Otto is putting into prosthesis when suddenly we have you can transplant a head onto an entire prosthetic body.
That's not better.
It's also
he's like dehumanized himself, really.
So did Otto!
Yeah, well, Otto got it wrong as well.
Yeah.
So once we fire the laser, his head will be like glowing red. That's how we can bash him and hurt him. Eventually, though, the laser malfunctions. Spidey is like desperately holding down, and Sable's like, it's not working. I can't get the laser to work. But she's had an idea. Hold him and jump when I say so. She flies the jet directly into him. Spidey, both of our heroes, leaping out the way at the very last minute. He's driven into a tower where he's engulfed in flame.
Of course.
He emerges, smoking, sparking, standing for a moment before finally malfunctioning and collapsing, defeated. Another man stuck in a useless body.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Spidey turns to Sable. Hey, that was fun. Do you have dinner plans? I know a great pizza place. She looks so confused by just everything Spider-Man is about. She needs to return home. Her people need her. I know, you have to fight. I don't like to fight, she says. I do what I have to, in order to help my people. I know, Pete says. That's what heroes do. I am no hero. But you have taught me a few things. Like how to disarm my enemies with bad jokes. Spider says that, humor is subjective. Thank you, Spider-Man, for everything. They shake hands. Spidey opens his arms for a hug, but that's a step too far, and she goes, I don't do hugs, and walks away. And that's us. We cut to black, and a message on screen reads, in memory of Stan Lee, who inspired us all to be greater.
Aww.
Post-credits!
Yay!
Yay!
High above the city stands Spidey and Miles.
Yes.
Training lesson!
Miles is now decked out in one of Pete's masks. Ready?
And nothing, and his normal outfit that all his friends would recognize. They just didn't have time to make him any sort of basic outfit.
Oh, Chase, just wait for the drip.
Ready?
Yeah.
I think the web shooters are a little tight. You get used to it. Try to keep up. Pete throws himself from the building. Miles looks up and out over his city and breathes hard before flinging himself to the building, screaming as he falls towards the camera. And we cut to credits.
Yes, very good.
I
Well done.
love it.
Fantastic.
I'm really glad. I wasn't expecting Miles to be in the base game. I thought that he was just going to get bit at the start of Miles Morales.
Yeah, no.
I'm really glad that he's integrated properly from the get-go.
What did you think of this DLC? It's very different stakes and very different standard of villain.
Is it bad if I liked the entire DLC more than the base game?
It's not bad.
It's a solid take, but it's not-
I feel like it was much goofier, and I like a good goofy.
Yeah, more goofy than Scorpion and Rhino and...
Yes.
I think it's a good DLC.
I liked it.
overall.
It was
Yeah.
good.
Cool. We were talking earlier, Monty and I, that Hammerhead is... They very clearly don't try and do an in-depth, tortured villain with different motivations. Because we just did a really good job of that. He's just an asshole.
Yeah.
And yes, there's the whole thing about him dehumanizing himself and the lengths he's...
That just makes him more of an asshole.
Yeah, he's not complicated. I like the Black Cat stuff.
Yeah.
Is this setting us all up that MJ is going to be off in the next game doing stuff with Sable?
Maybe. We'll find out.
Do you think they timeshare holidays? He's like, oh, thank God, somebody else can finally go on vacation.
Yeah, we get a rota going.
Yeah. Who's on call this week is Spider-Man.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I wasn't sure you'd enjoy it.
They were fun. I enjoyed these a lot. I'm sorry.
Who do you prefer, Batman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ooh, it's fine.
Even with how much he annoyed you relentlessly.
I mean, he still did. If we want the total count, I think that I had 9 breaks across the entire base game DLC.
Nice.
At his jokes, I did not count groans, but I think there was probably about 30 groans.
Well, that's more than he manages to make his villains break. I mean, he breaks their bones, but
Oh.
I mean, boy, I guess I just want to know what's coming next.
Whoa, yeah. Can we get a little tease, please?
That's not Kiryu. Who is that? What?
What?
I know.
Weird.
I know. We're back next with Yakuza 4, baby.
What?
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.